So, ladies and gentlemen, it's the first series of the evening, spawning to the bottom left in pink. It's Lady Azylis. And to the top right in purple, probably the favorite of this series, it's our Terran player from LDLC, it's Miyako. And I'm saying that she's probably the favorite because she's up 4-0 in the season, hasn't dropped a map yet. So I think for a lot of her opponents, winning isn't even an option anymore. Some people might just opt to go for taking a map off of her, and that would already be considered a great success. So let's see what Miyako has up her sleeves this time. Opening with standard barracks opening, nothing all too unusual here, no proxy shenanigans whatsoever, although she could have went for it because this is a two-player map and she already knows where her opponent is starting. So in the meantime, Azylis also trying to get the early scout before Miyako has the chance to wall off completely with another depot. She really wants to see if her opponent is going for gas and how many of them, so that she's going to know what her opponent is probably up to. In the meantime, Miyako just realizes that her opponent is going for an early, actually standard Nexus here, and then going into the cybernetics core, so it's going to take a little bit more time before Mothership core will be out. In the meantime, Miyako taking a base of her own, has the Marine out, just rallied the Marine down here so that it will be more problematic for the probe to escape, and it worked out quite nicely. So, meantime, reactor follow-up by Miyako. So finally the cybernetics core gets done, and we're probably going to see a quick Mothership core right afterwards, and there it is. Makes it easier to defend early pushes and drops against a Terran player. So factory build incoming, so it seems as if Miyako is going for a standard 1-1-1 build. We've seen this quite often by her during the season so far. So taking a second refinery, she's going to need the gas once she has the factory done, and she wants to go for a starport and maybe even producing some mines out of the factory, which is a possibility, and she's often done that, so that she was able to mine drop after the first medevac spawned. So let's see what she's up to this time. And there is the starport, and there's the first mine, as I was already predicting. So in the meantime, we have the Twilight Council and the robotics facility right afterwards. Pretty standard build by Azylis, and it's of course very understandable that she just goes for what she's doing right now. It's probably her favorite build and her most practiced one. And of course, if you're up against an opponent like Miyako, you'd rather not want to try some stupid shenanigans you've never practiced. You really want to be solid, and you want to do what you can do best against an opponent like her. So having the resonating glaives upgrades coming in, we also have an observer out for early scouting, or for early detection. Unfortunately, she's just sending the observer across the map, so it might not be at home once the medevac and the mine might hit. But in this case, it seems as if Miyako actually is not really going for a mine drop, since she's burrowed her mine just at the front entrance towards her natural base, and has even waited a little bit for the first medevac to come out. So in the meantime, we have a warp prism. So this might actually be a heavy warp prism adapt push, maybe even inside Miyako's main base, where the defenses are actually at the weakest, so it might work out quite nicely. Yeah, but there it is. She just used the mine and the first few Marines to defend her natural entrance against some kind of early pushes that might have come her own way. But now, once she's finally managed to get out the first medevac, she just unburrows and loads everything inside it. So even covering the main ramp with the help of that nasty mine over here. Now probably unloading the rest of her Marines. Maybe even getting the Mothership core before it's going to be able to fire up that pylon. But unfortunately, the pylon cannon does not really reach that far. So actually, that was actually pretty nice for Azylis over here, but she doesn't really have any units anyways. So, but now the mine cannot fire once more. It is on cooldown. So now, of course, she finally has the possibility to walk down here. Maybe Azylis is a little bit too afraid. Maybe she hasn't realized that that the mine has already fired, but she now can just walk down, try to chase off the medevac over here. There's also a Liberator in position already. So once she might be able to just lure a few of her opponent's units away from the natural mineral line, she will be able to just put this Liberator into liberation mode and then just attack it. But Azylis Stalkers have already found the Liberator over here, so this push has been held for now. Oh yeah, and you're right, of course the in-game sounds are now too loud once more because I just reloaded that replay with the older version of StarCraft 2 and it just put off all my settings. I will change that after the game. So, one more medevac incoming. So, Pylon Cannon just got fired up immediately, and Azylis even takes down the medevac, so great success for her already. But of course, in the meantime, Miyako was quite busy inside her own base, producing more barracks as we speak. She's already made a third command center, which she's going to land over here once it's been turned into an orbital command. And thus she is way ahead in economy already. If we just have a look at the income tab, you can already see that the income is better, that she has more harvesters, and while only having one mule down here. And with a third command center just going down, yeah, there's the Warp Prison trying to sneak inside Miyako's base. She just tries to warp in more units, but the Warp Prison gets shot down by the Cyclone pretty hard. So not really that much damage taken by her. In the meantime, Azylis tries to get Blink done. Yeah, gets a few probes over here, but I'm just taking out the music so it might be a little bit more understandable for the meantime. So yeah, once Miyako just lands this orbital command over here and then just throws down the next few mules, maybe even transferring some of her workers, but she doesn't have to do that yet. Well, maybe 4 from that base down here. Her economy will just boost immediately. She's already ahead in supply by 30, and there's the Liberator even trying to deny more mining time back here. Gets shot down by the Photon Pylon, which was in reach just barely. So, but yeah, the biggest problem for Azylis is that her army is pretty weak already. I mean, once her opponent just gets the right amount of stimmed bioforces together with a few tanks and liberators, there's just nothing she can do against it. Only Stalkers just won't cut it against this army. You normally want these Stalkers, of course, in order to shoot down Liberators, and mostly Liberators, but there's only one, and Stalkers just won't do good against the rest of this army, especially not the tanks and the Marauders, and even Stimmed Marines just tear through an army like that quite easily. The only thing that actually really would work for her are the Adepts with a Resonating Upgrade, but normally at that point in time, or at least around the 10-minute mark, you want to have some sort of AoE damage, and there's no tech available for Azylis anywhere near. So there's no Templar Archive, there's no robotics facility or robotics bay, sorry for that, that would allow her to get either Colossi or Templars with Storm or something like that. But against a Bioforce like this, you just need some sort of AoE in the long run. And she's not even trying to go there, so she's probably going to lose her base over here just once it's finished, which is quite unlucky for her. Yeah, not trying to fight any Liberation Zone would be a good idea. Tries to move in, maybe shoot down the Liberator with the units, but as you can see, the Bioforce just tears through it, and Miyako takes the first game. So, welcome on Frozen Temple. It's the second game of the series, and spawning to the top left in pink, we have our Protoss player Azylis, being down 0-1. And to the bottom right, in purple, we have our Terran player, Miyako, who just tore through Azylis forces with mostly bio, a few tanks, and a Liberator in the mix. But Azylis just was not prepared to deal with that kind of push, especially after being harassed with mines and marine drops in the early game. That just threw her back quite a bit and her economy, while Miyako just built up everything as she seemed fit. And then just walked over towards her opponent with her main army and killed her. So let's see what Azylis might be able to do against her opponent's aggressive playstyle this time around. She opens with probably the usual gateway opening, checking for proxy positions at her side of the map, or at least the most common proxy positions over here. And she also seems to, yeah, she also wants to build some sort of proxy oracle build probably. I've seen her do this on stream a lot. So if Miyako has also followed Azylis stream, she might be aware of this kind of sneaky tactic over here. So in the meantime we get the cybernetics core out early, and then we have the assimilators over here that already get her amount of gas up a little bit, which she's going to need for a Stargate once her cybernetics core is done, and there it goes down. In the meantime, Miyako's still quite unaware of what her opponent is doing. She hasn't even scouted the main base of her opponent, but she's sending out a Reaper right now, and the Reaper is probably going to the Reaper is not going to see what is actually up, but it's going to see that one pylon is missing in the mix, and then Miyako will just maybe not. If the Mothership Core just drives out Miyako far enough, she just won't be able. Even kills it with a pylon overcharge here, which is quite nice because Miyako hasn't seen that corner of the map. So she might suspect that something is up because her opponent was just so eager to kill off her Reaper, but maybe even not. There's another gateway down here so that units, if you want to warp units in at that location, it will happen a little bit quicker because of that gateway over here once it's transformed into a warp gate. And there's the first Oracle almost out, so once it's out it's probably flying right across into the main mineral line, trying to kill off some SCVs over here. Yeah, Miyako knows that something is probably up, so she searches for the typical proxy positions. Unfortunately, yeah, even that one, but only a little bit later, so it's not going to take her that long to realize what's up. There's the Oracle out now, so now Miyako really knows what's up, destroying the SCV that was building the bunker, so the bunker is going to be delayed. I don't really know if she should just move back, trying, she's unfortunately right now, she's a bit uncertain what she really wants to do. She just deactivated the pulsar beam at least, and flew back to that position, but now of course her advantage of the surprise has just gone away because her opponent is already knows that some sort of proxy play is coming her way. Miyako still just takes a third base, is sure that she's going to hold this without any special preparations. So maybe she was just thinking that it was a normal Oracle, but Miyako actually is good enough to know that that Oracle was at her side of the map pretty fast, and I think she's even seen it with the Oracle. So still no more bunkers up, it's only a few Marines and a bunker. Now finally a missile turret goes down, but the Voider is already out, overcharging right now, so the bunker also goes down like nothing, and now Miyako just has to pull everything back inside her main base because she knows that she can't hold it right there. So she now just needs a few more units in order to hold this. She has a tank out almost, now it's done, and she can't even siege it up, but of course the tank itself won't just kill all of the units in the normal case. Azylis just trying to do as much damage as possible. She knows that she's quite all in because she's not even tried to take another base over here, while Miyako still is on 3 bases once she's finally held that push. A nice little revelation spell here by that Oracle. Which Oracle? There it is. by that oracle, so that she's always capable of seeing what's what's happening up here without having instant vision with like Militia Corps. Ooh, Militia Corps gets shot down, which is actually a huge loss there for Azylis. And she just doesn't really know how to break Miyako at that point. I think she should just try to soft contain her opponent and maybe try to expand, because with just a few more units walking in, she has to do some more decisive pushing in order to get through here. I mean, the longer that the game takes, the more time Miyako gets to reinforce her army, and with a reinforced army it's getting more and more difficult for Azylis to get inside that base. Mine just being burrowed back here again. If these units try to walk in, she just sacrifices a few of her add-ons. She knows that she can afford it. Has to be careful probably not to lose her Mach Field Accelerator, which is the upgrade for the Cyclone that actually deals more damage against flying units. But finally, Azylis just overcommits with the rest of her units, and Miyako takes everything out. Azylis not GGing yet. She still tries to make something happen with the resources she has left on one base. There's one Void Ray over here. Has to be careful that it's not gonna taken out before the rest of the army arrives, but now the Cyclone has finally managed to lock on. It can just escape from the rest of the units, takes down the Void Ray, which was an important damage dealer, and finally even the missile turret finishes at the front of the ramp. So not really much that Lady Azylis can actually do right here. Miyako even using a lot of her SCVs and units just to block off the melee units from arriving, her tanks and cyclones. And now she even has the medevac out to heal her own units. Another bunker also gets thrown down. Miyako just knows that the only thing she really has to do is hold out for a little longer. She actually doesn't really know whether her opponent has taken another base or not. But yeah, Miyako again is just good enough to see how many units are coming her way that it's almost impossible for her opponent to take another base. So she still knows if the nice micro here with the Cyclone just getting it away from the front and back back towards the back of her army. GG well played, and Azylis types out. Miyako even takes the second game quite convincingly. It's Apotheosis, and we're in the third game of this series. Spawning to the bottom right in pink, we have our Protoss player, Azylis. She's down 0-2, she needs to make something happen. She tried to make it happen with a little cheese back in the last game, and it seemed to work quite well for some time. Miyako really in dire straits at some points, but finally Miyako managed to shoot down the important damage dealing units of Azylis, thus making her to GG out. Nothing else could be done. And there she is, to the top left in purple, our Terran player Miyako, who yet has to lose a single map during this season. Like I said before, she's up 4-0 and 12-0 in maps. No player has been capable of taking a game away from her yet. Still looking forward to the day it's going to happen, and of course we have an away round, mind you, so the players will face each other once more after home round is over. So everyone has the possibility to avenge themselves on her, and we'll see whether she will be able, anyone will be able to do that or not. For now, Azylis might still be able to make something happen with this third game. Like I said, at least taking a map off of Miyako is already to be considered as a small victory here. So Nexus, but this time Nexus going down for Azylis, not trying to do another kind of cheesy push this time around, or maybe she will. First probe still close to Miyako's base, but returning right now, or maybe even trying to search for a better location. No, it doesn't seem that way. It seems as if the probe just wants to return home, while Miyako is already checking with this SEV scout early on. Probably a little bit afraid of Azylis maybe cheesing once more. And it was a worthwhile experiment she did there, and it also might have worked out if she could have pushed a little more decisively there, with a little bit of better execution. But unfortunately, Miyako was just too well versed, too routined to be fooled by something like that. So, in the meantime, it seems as if Miyako again goes for her typical 1-1-1 build. Factory almost down, there's the starport already happening. This time around, another mine over here, and then we have... we're probably going to have this marine mine drop we have seen... we saw on the first game. In the meantime, we have Azylis going for her typical build as well, just doing this... Actually, both players just doing the same thing they did in the first game. Once more, Azylis, we will see whether her opponent... whether Azylis is going for the quick resonating glaives upgrade once more, but it seems like that because she's already producing a lot of adepts. So what other tech would she choose if she's already committing to adept play? And there it is, the resonating upgrades over here, medevac in production, probably having the mine in a spot somewhere around here, right, in order to get some proxy oracles. If some units were to fly in. It's pretty difficult to see the Widow Mine once it's covered by these mineral fields a little bit. Of course, if you have really good eyes and if you just expect something like that to happen, you might trace it. But in this case, Miyako was just having it back here for a precautious measure. But now again, once the medevac is done, she just loads everything inside the medevac and flies across the map. In the meantime, she has a marine out, which tries to find some sort of proxy shenanigans. And there is, luckily for Azylis, if she was looking at the minimap at that point in time, she should have realized that something is coming her way. It seems as if she didn't really. No, she's not really moving her units backwards, although she could expect that this drop is probably going towards her main base mineral line. There's the mothership core in place, but there's only... well, no, actually it's two pylons over here, so she might be able to just fire both of them up in order to get everything done. And Miyako once again just tries to secure that ramp with the help of that mine, so once these units try to get up the ramp, they will just get blown up by that Widow Mine over here. Oh, and even loses the mothership core, which is quite tragic actually already, because now she won't have any sorts of photon overcharge available for her, and now even that little force over here is probably just going to kill her. Azylis tries to desperately kill off at least that medevac, because she knows that the medevac might be the biggest problem for her right now, losing probes left and right already. 6 have already been killed, and this is actually working out quite well for Azylis over here. Tries to tear down the observer, but Azylis just reacts quite well, tries to secure it right here, and in the meantime Azylis has actually managed to get a Dark Shrine out of somewhere, and the Dark Templar will help her to just shoo off everything, even gets the medevac over here, which is at least making up for the losses she's already received. But yeah, losing the mothership core was, wow, really tough, and for just a moment there I was really fearing that she might even have to GG out in a few seconds over here if Miyako was just dealing more damage all around. So where's actually that? Oh, there it is, the Dark Shrine over here. Just missed it barely. Was too preoccupied with everything else in order to have a look at the production tab. Should have actually saw that coming. And yeah, again, Miyako, the same thing like I said before, just going for the early Cyclone in order to shoot down any potential harassment with the Warp Prisms. So unfortunately, Azylis won't be able to unload these inside Miyako's main base, causing some trouble, maybe even forcing some scans out of her by warping in more DTs. But Miyako has already prepared for that, or has already tried to prepare for that by throwing down more missile turrets everywhere around her main base and her natural base. So this is actually a complete full wall off. We have a missile turret out. Unfortunately, no Marines sitting inside that bunker, but of course you can just put them in here as soon as some DTs would try to walk over here, try to tear down some part of that wall. But this time around, Azylis having a third base down a lot quicker than the last time, even a lot quicker than her own opponent. And she already has some gates down as well, so she will be able to reinforce her army quite heavily. Still the biggest problem that she hasn't gone into some sort of AoE tech yet, be it Colossi, be it Disruptors, be it High Templars. So I think she should really try to get a Templar archive down as quick as possible, or maybe if she really wants to go into Colossi, maybe a Robotics Bay. For now she tries to make everything happen with just gateway units and a few Immortals, which is going to work out for some time during the matchup, especially if she manages to keep her opponent from expanding, but she doesn't really want to move out at all, it seems. She has a Warp Prism out right here, warping in more units. A bit of a failed scan for Miyako, but she really wanted to see whether her opponent has already taken the gold third base or not, which she does now. But she hasn't seen the army composition, mostly only the Adepts that were out here. So she doesn't really know what's getting her way, and there's the Templar Archive now already done. Storm probably getting researched in just a few seconds, and the first few upgrades being researched as well. While in the meantime, Miyako already has her 1-1 up. She's already now producing 2-2, or researching 2-2, not producing. You wouldn't say that. And in the meantime, just trying to saturate all of her bases, now getting a big mineral income boost by these gold minerals, even having down a bunker over here if need be. And if her opponent decided to walk up that ramp straight into the third base. I think for now, Azylis doesn't actually know about the third bases, neither this one nor this one. She can probably assume that her opponent has already taken a third base, but for now I think she feels quite comfortable with Storm coming up as well. More gateways incoming too, and she might even be able to take a fourth base, over here at the gold base as well, pretty soon, because she has the minerals for that. And in the meantime, just producing more and more units. Does she even have? Yeah, there's the Zealot speed incoming charge. So then she will even have a lot of ground unit that will actually deal quite an amount of damage quite quickly and will close in pretty quickly as well. So now finally Miyako just sees everything, the whole army. She knows that Dark Templars are in the mix. She's already reacted beforehand with a Ghost Academy, so she will be able to have EMPs out in just a short amount of time, which will help out tremendously. Even producing some Liberators, because Liberators are just great against gateway-based armies. In the meantime, Azylis just plays it straight up, tries to get her fourth base down, doing a little harassment over to the right-hand side. There's a Marine over here that is going to spot the units right now. I don't know if she was quick enough to see that there's a DT in the mix, but she needn't worry about it because she has detection in several places, so no problem for her right there. Okay, just taking out these units, scanning for the DT, taking this out as well. Maybe going to lose that tech lab, but maybe she's quick enough to repair it. And there the SEV comes! 3, 2, 1! No, unfortunately not just 1 second too late. And now Miyako just have had enough. She's moving out with the rest of her army. Probably wants to move out before more High Templars are going to be in the mix. She doesn't have Cloak yet, but it's being researched as we speak, and in the meantime we have a big amount of Zealots just warping in, trying to tear down some more of these units, but they are actually just wasted money for Azylis here, unfortunately. I think she shouldn't really have tried something like that. I mean, if you really want to do some more damage, maybe even buying more time, what you usually want to do is get inside the main base, forcing parts of the army or even all of the army back completely back into the main base, and this will actually buy you a lot of time, but this little thing over here just wasted a lot of a lot of Zealots over here, which he's probably going to need in a few seconds over here. If these EMPs hit really well, I mean, EMPs are always good against Protoss. Of course, you have to just get the High Templars with it so that they won't be able to Storm, because Storm is actually your biggest problem if you're using a Bio Army. But still, even if you don't manage to get all the High Templars, or with the High Templars together, you can just EMP the rest of the army, especially if it's clumped up like that. There's another AoE damage dealer out here, because, yeah, you will just get all of the shields down of all of these units, which just cuts mostly... or which just cuts the health points, or whatever you might call it. I mean, it's shield points, it's everything that's keeping the unit alive. It's just getting cut into half, so mostly. So for most of the units. So liberation zones are set up. Azylis just tries to move in. Does she have any storms? There are the EMPs right all over all of the army. No Psy Storms available, and yeah, she just tries to blink forward, tries again to take out all of the Liberators, but gets her Stalkers shredded immediately, and once again Bio prevails over the Gateway-based army of Lady Azylis. Not even the few Zealots she just wasted at Miyako's natural base would have really helped there. Always problematic if you kind of have to fight underneath liberation zones, because you just want to desperately save your base, and then you just take an engagement that's just disadvantageous for you, and you don't really want to do that. But it's easy to say if you're just the observer out here, if you're really in panic mode and if you're stressed out and you want to make everything right against an opponent that is as good as Miyako is, then of course it's quite difficult to do. But actually Azylis doesn't really stand a chance against this kind of army. She doesn't really have any real AoE damage dealers except for that one Archon and that one Colossus. And since Colossi got nerfed, they're actually not nearly as good as before. The Archon just gets shredded down immediately, and the rest of the units with the Stalkers won't help at all. GG well played, and Miyako takes the series 3-0. As was kinda expected.